Have you ever felt like you were drowning in a mix of emotions, wondering if you might be doing something wrong? Today we're going to talk about a deeply important topic, a problem that many people face but is rarely discussed openly: trauma bonding. This is not an easy topic to confront, but it's one we need to unpack. What is trauma bonding? How does it affect your thoughts, psychology, and emotions? And most importantly, if you've ever been involved with a malignant narcissist, someone who doesn't just manipulate but makes you feel like you're the root of all problems, then this topic becomes more urgent than ever. Ask yourself, have you ever thought that it's your fault, that you're not good enough, or that there's something wrong with you? If so, let me tell you this: no, you are not the problem. The issue lies with the other person, a pathological, unstable, and unbalanced individual who always wanted you to believe it was your fault. What's crucial is that you recognize what they have done to you, so you can understand that this has nothing to do with your worth or who you are. Together we'll work on reframing your thoughts and emotions about yourself, so you can break free from this emotional spiral. Are you ready to explore and free yourself from the negative impacts of trauma bonding? Let's begin. First, let's revisit the concept. What is trauma bonding? It's a state where someone becomes psychologically tied to a malignant narcissist, a person who seeks to control and manipulate everything around them. In this kind of relationship, you feel trapped, emotionally and mentally drained, and may even lose your sense of self-worth. All these negative emotions stem from a profoundly toxic relationship. Over time, the person enduring the narcissist's toxicity becomes weaker, while the narcissist grows more cruel and calculating. The word diabolical comes from Latin, meaning devilish, and no term better describes the behavior of narcissists. Individuals who go to great lengths to impose power over you, dismantle your confidence, and erode your ability to trust yourself. What they want isn't just to control you, they demand submission and adoration. As time passes, you adapt to the game they impose. You seek peace, avoid unnecessary conflicts, and might even start believing that if you leave, you're somehow disloyal or in the wrong. This is the essence of trauma bonding. You feel trapped in the relationship because they've made you believe that leaving would lead to something terrible happening to you. Here's what often happens to kind-hearted individuals who get caught in a trauma bond with a malignant narcissist. I completely lost myself. I can't count how many times I tried to save this relationship. I always felt responsible for making peace. But the most heartbreaking realization is this: no matter how hard you try, nothing ever satisfies them. You end up living as someone who constantly says yes, and just to avoid their terrifying outbursts. Have any of you ever experienced the feeling of walking on eggshells, living in constant fear? The barrage of insults, shame, and controlling demands weigh so heavily on you that you start to question, who am I? Why did I let myself end up in this situation? I feel forced to comply with their wishes, but deep down I hate it. Your self-worth and self-esteem are shredded, trampled on, leaving behind only doubt and deep sorrow, often lingering even long after the relationship ends. People who've endured such relationships often say, "Ugh, I feel like I'm broken. Can I ever be loved again? I was threatened that if I left, things would become disastrous. I feel so isolated, it's indescribable. I know I need to escape this toxic environment, but I'm paralyzed with fear." This is how trauma bonding can devastate a kind-hearted individual. The narcissist, driven by their overpowering need for control, convinces themselves that destroying you is justified. They continuously send messages and create experiences designed to suffocate your kindness and self-esteem, dimming the light that makes you who you are. Have you ever experienced something like this, or do you know someone who has? Are there other aspects of trauma bonding that you feel need further discussion? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story not only helps you release the pain, but could also offer support to others who are enduring similar struggles. Trauma bonds often form in overly controlling relationships where you face constant conflict, mental stress, and relentless pressure. In these relationships, the malignant narcissist frequently displays rigid, stubborn behavior and refuses to change their actions. They don't take responsibility for the harm they cause and always manipulate the narrative to blame you instead. These behaviors are clear red flags indicating that you're trapped in a trauma bond. Recognizing these signs is the first step toward breaking free. It's the moment when you must decide, I refuse to stay trapped any longer. I will rise with my self-respect because that's what I deserve. To the narcissist, the message you need to send is clear. You're nothing more than a reflection in my rearview mirror. Your opinions no longer affect my life. It ends here. You need to understand that you have the right to say no. When caught in a trauma bond, the narcissist will do everything to make you believe that you don't have the right to refuse, that everything they demand is something you must do. But this is merely an illusion they've constructed to maintain their power and control. The truth is, you always have the right to say no. Imagine this, saying no isn't just a refusal, it's a declaration of your self-worth, an assertion of your boundaries, and a reminder that you're not a tool for someone else's needs. When you say no, you're reclaiming control over your own life. Here are some areas where you can exercise your right to say no. Say no to manipulation. Narcissists often use guilt to coerce you into compliance, saying things like, "If you really cared, you'd do this for me. You're the only one I can rely on." Remember, you're not responsible for meeting all their needs, especially when it comes at your own expense. Respond firmly, "No, I can't do that." Say no to the need to please them. You cannot please someone who is never satisfied. Narcissists often make you feel like you have to do everything to maintain peace and avoid conflict. But this is a trap. They will always find a reason to be dissatisfied, no matter what you do. Keep in mind, you don't have to live your life trying to please them. Say no to sacrificing your values. Trauma bonding often pushes you into compromising your beliefs, principles, and personal values just to sustain the relationship. But you have the right to stand by what you believe in. Remind yourself, I don't need to give up who I am to meet their demands. Say no to fear. Narcissists frequently threaten that if you leave or stand up to them, terrible things will happen. But this is how they maintain control, not reality. You don't need to be afraid of saying no. Say no to the limits they impose. They will try to convince you that you can't live without them, that you're not strong enough to stand on your own, but this is an outright lie. Remind yourself, I don't need anyone's permission to live my life. Practical steps to saying no. Practice saying no in small situations. Start with simple refusals like turning down an unreasonable request. Write down the boundaries you want to set. This will help you clearly visualize what you will no longer accept. Seek support. Turn to friends, family, or a therapist to help you practice and reinforce this skill. Each time you say no, you empower yourself, reclaiming your freedom and rebuilding your self-esteem. If you're in the process of breaking free from a trauma bond, there's one crucial thing to remember. This journey isn't something that happens overnight. There will be days when you feel strong and confident in your decisions, but there will also be days when doubts and sorrow pull you back. That's completely normal. Be patient with yourself. Sometimes you may find yourself unconsciously defending or justifying the narcissist's behavior, or even blaming yourself for what happened. These thoughts are not your fault. They're the result of the manipulation and control you endured, but now you have the power to choose not to let those thoughts control you any longer. Let's start by practicing self-compassion. Remind yourself that you are worthy of love and respect, unconditionally. What you've been through does not define your value as a person. Additionally, focus on building a life that reflects your true values. Set clear boundaries in your current relationships. Don't be afraid to say no or to assert what matters most to you. Engage in activities or hobbies that bring you joy and freedom. This will help you reconnect with yourself, the person you were before the pain. Remember, you have the right to live a life free from control. If you ever feel overwhelmed or lost, don't hesitate to seek support. You don't have to face this journey alone. A therapist, a support group, or even a trusted friend can be an invaluable source of encouragement. Finally, allow yourself to heal at your own pace. Respect your journey. While there may be setbacks along the way, as long as you keep moving forward, little by little, you will rediscover the strong and free individual you've always deserved to be. I hope today's message has resonated with you. It's heartbreaking to know there are selfish, immature, and arrogant people who believe they have the right to invade your mind and manipulate you for their own purposes. But remember, you have the right to not let that happen. You deserve respect, and that starts with learning to respect yourself. When you value yourself, you will gradually break free from the toxic bonds they tried to create and, step by step, reclaim the freedom and peace you've always deserved. Always keep in mind that my greatest hope for you is to become a person of peace, a person who lives freely, happily, and no longer influenced by the negativity you once endured. If you find this message meaningful, feel free to share it or leave your thoughts. Sometimes a story or a small word of encouragement from you can be a powerful source of inspiration for someone who truly needs it.